The clan of global elites that have embraced vehicles for commuting is swollen by one, if you see what I mean, as the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Agency, Lamata, launches its electric mass transit buses. The big idea is to transform the state public transport system to a carbon-free mobility ecosystem within the state. Now, the MD of Lamata, Bola Tinubu, I hope that's right, said the initiative is a major aspect of the vision for transportation in Lagos State. The rollout of the electric buses kicks off with a 3-month proof of concept phase, the pilot phase, with an expanded fleet and bus routes which will follow. Now, the ultimate goal, we understand, is to have a countrywide deployment, and I know this, some 30,000 jobs for Nigerians are in the offing. It's good to think big.
Yes, this is revolutionary as far as I'm concerned, and it is forward-thinking. We will eventually get there, but we know we have to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
In the US and Germany, some of these advanced countries, we're already seeing such
Electric
cars.
buses.
Yes, cars. I saw a video of people with dozens of cars parked and being charged.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You see, we are already suffering the ill effects of excessive use of fossil fuels, and look at the impact it's had on climate change and all that. So, the earlier we begin to transit to clean energy, the better for us. When I heard this story, I didn't take it seriously. I felt like, what's going on? But for Wando and Lamata to have come up with this idea, I think it's really something that deserves commendation. They deserve commendation. We just have to join the rest of the world in keeping our environment clean, and some of what we do currently
Otherwise,
do not serve that cause. Yes.
Going green is the name of the game.
Look at what happened last year. Look at how many lives we lost to flooding and the rest.
Yeah, avoidably.
Yes, so we have to start from somewhere.
These are the buses.
We have to start from, and they are beautiful buses. You know, I would like to have a ride in. Even see what transiting in these buses look like. Lagos is always ready to lead the way in things that are really forward thinking, and that's why I want to congratulate Lamata for this. We can't wait to see them roll out more of these buses so that we can keep the ecosystem clean. Thinking
big is the name of the game, Emeka.
Yeah.
But again, the mega city status of Lagos is a dream. It's realizable, but a few teething problems here and there.
Yeah, one of yes, which is it's a good thing you mentioned that. I mean, one of the things is that you still have commuter buses, rickety commuter buses, and the drivers will be wondering what will happen to them when you have so many of these buses. What will be their fate? Are they going to be thrown into the job market? Because along the line, the state government is definitely going to phase them out, ban them from the roads. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
We don't know how quickly that may come. Then, in the existing transport ecosystem,
arterial routes.
Yes, in the existing transport ecosystem
Okay.
in Lagos, it's going to knock off some participants, some of the stakeholders. So it's also very important to find a role, to find roles for them in the emerging system so that everything will run smoothly, whether we like it or not. By 2035, much of the world will not really need vehicles powered by fossil fuels. So you'll definitely find, if we have not fully transited
by then,
fully or substantially transited by 2035, what it means is that they are going to
we'll be playing catch up.
They'll be sending their vehicles to us. They'll be sending their fossil fuel vehicles to us. And that will not help us.
Help matters there.
Yes, that will not help us. So it's very important we talk about the routes. It's also important that the routes are structured in such a way that there is continuity. When the buses stop here, then it's not that, okay, I've enjoyed a ride in an electric bus, fossil fuel, free of fossil fuels, and then I alight, get on another bus, and all I have dodged...
Back to square one.
Back to square one. So these things, a lot of things we need to change. And the people, there should be citizen orientation. The citizens should be, there should be orientation for the citizens so that they can key into this. Let it not look like it's one of those phantom schemes that let the citizens know that this is where the world is heading to. We cannot pretend and we cannot look away.
Otherwise, you need the buy-in of the commuter.
And the transport operators.
And a lot of the people here may not even know the difference.
No, but these buses are very beautiful.
Yes, the beautiful bus, they'll get into it. They won't ask questions. Oh, is it powered by diesel, gas, and the rest?
Yeah.
They won't ask this question as far as they know it will take them to their destination.
One of the things that actually, one of the attractions of the BRT buses, let me just tell you, those blue ones, was that people could charge their phones in those buses.
See the interior. See how beautiful the interior is.
Yes, people could charge their phones in those buses. That was one of the attractions of those blue buses. So with this, I hope there will be some functionalities, little perks that
obviously.
that the commuters will enjoy and will make them swing.
And I think they should also consider taking these buses to Abuja. Maybe when they are coming up with the second phase, Wando has to be encouraged.
They said it's in the offing.
Abuja and Kano are becoming similar to Lagos in many ways. Abuja is the second fastest growing city in Nigeria in terms of population.
Okay.
So for that reason, more and more people are migrating to Abuja, from different states. So we need to introduce something like this. I'm sure there will be sufficient patronage.
I imagine they are thinking big.
You didn't mention Port Harcourt with weakest flyovers here.
All right. Efforts by politicians to put a spanner in the works in order to stop Bola Tinubu's inauguration are as frantic as they are real. A former presidential candidate of the Hope Democratic Party, HDP, Ambrose Albert Owuru, went to the appeal court in Abuja, praying it to stop the inauguration of President-elect Senator Bola Tinubu. Now, the appeal court was miffed by the suit and ordered the litigant to pay a fine of 10 million naira each to the four parties involved, namely the President, Muhammadu Buhari, the Attorney General, Abubakar Malami, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and of course, the President-elect Bola Tinubu. The three-man panel of the court held that Mr. Owuru embarked on a gross abuse of court process by filing a frivolous, vexatious, and irritating suit meant to provoke, the respondent. Sometimes you wonder if politicians think before they make a move.
Well, the litigant was well within his rights to have gone to court, and the court has only given his own interpretation of the suit he filed. Of course, every citizen has a right to approach the courts.
If you feel aggrieved.
Yeah, if you feel aggrieved, yes. I mean, and you feel you can't look away or you can't let it go. So I think, well, it will... One thing the court said actually was that there had been a decided case on this by the Supreme Court as at 2019. So his lawyers should have guided him on that and told him that there was no need trying to drag such a matter out again. But also, I think Nigerian lawyers should also need
to help us.
To help, yes. Because
help the situation.
Some of these cases are actually cases that, you see, you would expect that lawyers will be more conversant with the dictates of the law and then with decided cases. Because you find out that some of these cases actually, some of these lawyers had been a part of such cases, either as counsel to litigants or counsel to defense. So you expect them to enrich the law.
Process,
but
yeah.
Well, you just find out that with the way the appeal court has ruled, I don't know if it's going to head to the Supreme Court. Since the appeal court referred to the Supreme Court by saying that it had decided on it.
On the matter.
So, well, it's also part of, it's enriching the jurisprudence. At least it's helping us to better understand issues around elections, around inaugurations, and all of that.
So at the risk of repeating oneself, politics is not quite exact.
This is not even politics to me. It's just silliness taken too far. A case brought by you had reached its conclusion at the Apex Court.
Previously.
Yeah, in 2019. You then went back to a lower court, still talking about the same matter, claiming that you won the 2019 election, claiming that the rescheduling of the election impacted on your performance. First, how did you win the election? How many votes did you score? Because I can't remember a party called Hope
Democratic Party
winning or even coming close to winning. All kinds of things are happening. We talked about this the other day. Lawyers are not helping us. I think that there's a need to begin to punish lawyers who encourage filing of frivolous matters like this. How did you come to the conclusion that you won the 2019 election? You are not among the front runners. You are not prominent as a politician. You do not belong to any of the prominent parties.
And I hear he doesn't reside in Nigeria.
Yes, every 4 years, this is what he does. He will come and file some funny cases, and at the end of the day,
and go back.
We won't hear about him anymore. So these hefty fines, in my view, are meant to stop him in his tracks, ensure that
there's no next time.
Come 2027, it does not materialize or descend again. Because okay, yes, the election postponed because they said they were not ready and all that. And you are not the only person
affected.
All the politicians, all the parties lost money because it then meant that they had to continue to mobilize voters, continue to place their jingles
until the last minute.
So they all lost money. They all lost one way or another because of the postponement. INEC also lost money because once INEC has mobilized and then was forced to remobilize, it costs money.
Yeah.
So you are not the only person with grievances. I like the language of the court. You are not the only person with grievances against the 2019 election. Well, he's taking this thing too far. Look at the other one who said that since 2011, they didn't put his picture on the ballot and filed a matter recently. Look at what Minister of State for Education, look at what he did. Oh, yeah. He lost his cases right up to 2 different cases. He lost right up to Supreme Court. He went and he filed a motion seeking the permission of the court to join people who had lost and refused to appeal. A different matter. A different matter was lost at the level of the lower court by another interested party. They lost and refused to appeal. Our man, the junior minister, then decided that he needed to continue that matter. You are not an interested party in their matter. But it was you. Long after the thing had been started bad, it was you then woke up and said, okay, let me see if I could appeal this matter. A matter that had long been decided.
As he said a while back, his attorney would have encouraged him.
This Hope, for example, this Hope party man, claims that he's a lawyer. So in his case, I don't think anybody encouraged himself. He must have felt, okay, I'm a lawyer, what the hell, I can file this matter.
Yes, he can represent himself.
Yes. So all kinds of people, sometimes they don't even find out whether such cases
have
any meaning at all. Look at people who got up and said, okay, they are from Abuja, the Abuja residents, then that Tinubu is not qualified to be inaugurated, and they went to court. And the law is clear. Yes. The law is clear. You were not a candidate in the election.
You are not directly.
You don't have a local standard.
You have no local standard. And they were doing press conferences all over the place, hitting up the politics, saying they are Abuja people, Abuja residents, people who used to be in Lagos, found themselves in Abuja. They are going to court, not thinking about the fact that they are not permitted by law to challenge the man who had won an election. Yeah. Those who can challenge him are the people who have taken him to court, to the tribunal now. They were the people who took part in the election. You are not, you didn't take part. You are not a contestant. So how come you didn't know that? Because if the law were to permit just anybody to sue somebody who won an election.
Oh come on.
Everyone, all of the people making all the noise on social media, they will file different cases.
Are you not aggrieved one way or another?
They will file their different cases. They will file different cases. I'm not a politician. I have not complained to anybody that I'm aggrieved about the way the election went. So we just can't continue like this.
Yeah.
We say our courts have too much to do.
So much.
Yeah.
And these guys are worsening things by bringing cases that they should not bring. Look at what happened in Anambra State. Somebody went and filed a matter at Breeding Kudu in Jigawa State. Against Soludo. They just wasted the time of the court.
And a lawyer led him.
Yes.
You know, they kept going on.
And they got judgment.
Soludo case.
They got judgment. The lawyers know what they are doing. They know what they are doing. They got judgment.
On the other hand, are the politicians do they know what they're doing?
Well, politics is a game.
Okay.
And
what a game.
Part of the game is finding different means to achieve your objective. But I think really the courts should be, lawyers and politicians should help
this situation.
The situation should help the process. Because even the layman, you see, social media, the internet have helped that even the layman can pick, for instance, the Electoral Act and look at certain things and get some basic understanding of, okay, the law says this, the law says, okay, you're a lawyer, can you, and also on WhatsApp groups, please, can you interpret, can you explain for us? And, there are lawyers who are willing to say, okay, this is this, this is this, this is this. So now, politicians, if you remember, how many cases are we going to talk about? How many cases are we going to talk about that have gone here, gone here, gone here, gone round and round and round and round?
I'm wondering if Nigerian politicians are not becoming Machiavellian. You know,
Is it about being
I
Machiavellian?
don't even know. You can't even explain why they are. You know, the Minister of State's matter.
yeah.
The lawyer, the judges were extremely angry with the lawyer, and before they wrote their judgment, he had to withdraw from the case because they were going to put in their judgment, they were going to recommend punishment for him. Judgment. So he wised up quickly, and because what is the point? It's not your matter originally. It's somebody else's matter. That person didn't think it made sense to appeal. You have lost at the Supreme Court. You now apply to join those people and then appeal long after the matter had been dispensed with, and the time ceiling within which to file an appeal had already passed.
Okay, our job is to mold opinion. Your business is to make up your mind. All right, then, welcome back to our next story. You know, as the 8-year presidency of Muhammadu Buhari terminates in 3 days on May 29, if you like, a conferment of national honors on the president-elect Bola Tinubu and the vice president-elect Kashim Shettima was on the cards as the Presidential Transition Committee rounds off. President Buhari conferred the highest honor of the Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, GCFR, on the president-elect, and the second highest Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, GCON, on the vice president-elect. With the words, "I shall not disappoint you," by Senator Tinubu, the eagle, they say, has landed. Now, let's share the story of the investiture by TVC News, Femi Akonde. Come with us.
President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu arrives at his investiture of the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic. This is the first time an outgoing president will bestow the country's highest honor on an incoming president of the Federal Republic. President Muhammadu Buhari will certainly take most of the credit for this smooth civilian-to-civilian transition. As he bows out on the 29th of May, he is confident that Nigeria will be in safe hands and under competent leadership.
Today, I am proud to have handed over to you, my successor, Your Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It is my earnest desire that you will find these documents useful, as this will be the first time in the history of this country that such a detailed documentation will be produced for handover to a new administration.
The president-elect was handed the transition document, which is a policy status update of the outgoing administration, a foundation upon which the new administration will begin. Bola Ahmed Tinubu says he understands the magnitude of the task ahead and he is ready and willing to take it on.
I stand here today renewed in hope and dedication to our national greatness. I also feel full of pride that this moment is our moment. This stately occasion is proof that Nigeria is vibrant and true democracy. It confirms that our democratic path is right and is right, and nothing will deter us from sticking to it.
The Nigerian story under President Muhammadu Buhari has been a bumpy ride on the national journey to economic stability, security, and building infrastructure for sustainable development. As President-elect Bola Tinubu moves to take center stage in governance, he already has a clear picture of the current state of the nation.
Your Excellency, Mr. President and the President-elect, is that we took the renewed hope agenda and aligned it with the 9 priority areas. And where there are gaps, we indicated the gaps. And where there are improvements based on the renewed hope agenda, we indicated it and we stated what are the quick wins, what can be deferred for the future. So this is a comprehensive document you are receiving this afternoon. It's a combination of the effort of the President Muhammadu Buhari administration aligned with your vision for Nigeria.
There are some tough decisions that he has to take, and he will take them. But at the end of the day, he will remember to ensure that the poor, the vulnerable, the average Nigerian is not left behind.
Standing and believe is that the President-elect, as soon as he's sworn in, will set the ball rolling for all his agendas contained in the Renew Hope, and Nigerians should expect the best.
Nigerians hope they will not have to wait for too long before the impact of the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration is felt. The new Grand Commander of the Federal Republic and President-in-waiting Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been briefed on the task ahead. Nigerians already look forward to when they will begin to feel the impact of his administration as soon as he's sworn in on the 29th of May. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
Yeah, many thanks, Femi. Jide, so Renewed Hope is in the wing, is waiting to explode. Yeah.
Yes, this is a very significant step towards that civilian to civilian transition that would happen on the 29th of May. Many people have said they want to ensure President Buhari will hand over. But I've not seen anything that he has done in the last few months and weeks and days.
To disabuse your mind?
Yes, to suggest to me that he has no plan to hand over. Yes, people have encouraged him to stay on, and at every opportunity he will say, I'm not staying a day longer. He comes across like someone who cannot wait to return to Daura, his hometown. So this ritual has been performed. The next significant ritual in terms of transition is what will happen on May 29, and it is usually a very solemn and brief event. No time for long speeches and all that. Just a very short ceremony, and a new president will take over. President Buhari has handed the baton to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he said for effect that he's happy to hand over to him, that he's convinced that Nigeria will make progress under Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I am happy that Tinubu knows what is at stake. When he said, I will not disappoint you, he ought to know that Nigerians are listening and
watching.
They want to see him honor his word, because leaders who want to give themselves immortality, they must honor their word, because you must have made promises during the campaign, and you have to do your best to fulfill your promise. Nigeria needs change across different areas.
That's it.
I can say in all spheres of our national life, we need change, and the president-elect must deliver that change, real change, not change on paper. Yorubas will talk about Eshinowe. That is the horse that you see in
on pages of paper.
yes,
Yeah.
the horse that you see in the storybook. You know, that horse that you see in the storybook is not the real one. Nigerians want to see
The real horse.
the real horse.
And possibly
not
touch
so
it.
you have to move beyond promises to fulfill the promises that you made to our people.
Yeah. Emeka, the expectations are great.
Immense.
Immense.
Because Nigerians are highly disappointed, traumatized. Yes, look at the killings that have been going on in the Middle Belt. You know, even in the Southeast, in the Northwest, ISWAP is still rampaging. And there were 3 areas that President Buhari said he would concentrate on: corruption, security, and the economy. But on those 3 fronts, I don't score him highly.
It's a mixed
I
bag.
score him lowly, yes, because Nigerians expected that things would not be at this level. They expected that a lot of that tact and diplomacy will be applied in some of the decisions he took. But apparently, he misjudged the impact, the severity of some of those decisions.
Yeah.
And again, it happened that he was president at a time of back-to-back recession, global recession, and the COVID-19 epidemic. But he's also to blame for the delay in appointing ministers 7 months into his administration.
Yeah.
But thankfully, the National Assembly has helped in part to prevent that from happening again by passing a law that the president and governors should send their list, constitute their cabinet within a month of taking over.
Office,
So, which I believe will help to shape the direction of a new administration. You don't have to, I mean, before you are inaugurated, you ought to have known people whom you want to work with you. It's not when you come in like the First Lady was saying, Aisha Buhari, that many of the people Buhari appointed, he didn't know them.
You know them.
So, okay, why didn't you appoint
people appointed them for him.
I mean, but there were people who were working with you. There are people you had known for a long time. And don't forget
don't forget that he is not the sociable type.
Yeah, I know.
He did not know people.
But this man, this elderly man, I forget his name, that helped him to do his transition notes.
Yes,
in 2015.
Man from Adama is dead now.
Yes, I don't remember his name, but I think Ahmed Joda.
Yeah, Ahmed Joda.
He did. The man was very methodical. He did, if you read his notes then, there were things he recommended. And I don't think, Buhari apparently didn't go through those notes. He didn't follow those notes faithfully. So it's very important that...
You don't think it was somebody who should have pointed the thing out to him?
No, it's very simple. Now you are the president. You can ask your principal secretary or some aides to just give you bullet points. Because I met Joda. That was first-class civil servant, first-class permanent secretary. So
he's one of the super PAMSEC.
Yeah, super PAMSEC. So such a person drew up transition documents for you. Should have just asked your principal secretary to develop bullet points for you to say, okay, these are the things. This is how we will go. But apparently, he just dumped them by the side.
If you look at Obasanjo,
yes,
Obasanjo had friends across the length and breadth of our country. Even had houses in different parts of our country. I was in Mambila, and they showed me Obasanjo's house.
Even farms.
In Mambila. So Obasanjo would not need anybody to tell him who to appoint here. And he was very familiar with people. And you can credit Obasanjo with appointing some really solid people as ministers, whether they were women, people like Okonjo Iweala, he brought them onto the scene. The woman at NAFDAC,
Dora.
Yes. Obasanjo was told that Dora was somewhere, Dora, honest, went abroad for training, returned excess money and all that.
I
And,
think 13,000 pounds or so.
one just look for him, for her. On the day they were opening the NAFDAC headquarters in Abuja, one just told the story of how he discovered Dora. What I'm trying to say is that Buhari was not caught in the same cloth.
Yeah.
Someone like Tinubu,
You're saying
very sociable,
the number one
he
citizen,
knew people.
The number one citizen must be an extrovert.
To a large extent.
To a large
He
extent.
will know.
Yes.
So people can't mislead you by recommending people
Because you already...
because you already knew them.
That's it.
You know? So we will not expect the incoming president, for example, to have that kind of nature.
Okay.
Because already he had friends across the country and very sociable. You know, so...
Jide, everything is encapsulated in the statement by the president-elect. I will not disappoint you. So
That's
I will not.
That's a weighty
It is.
statement.
It is.
That's a weighty
All right.
statement.
So, in a season of litigations, as we have now in our country, politicians are getting smarter by getting lawyers instead of conscience to be their guides. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, had filed a suit before the Federal High Court, Abuja, challenging the validity of the Tinubu-Shetima ticket for the 2023 presidential election. The opposition party had claimed that Shetima's nomination was a breach of the provisions of sections 29(1), 33, 35, and 84(1) of the Electoral Act 2022. After the Federal High Court threw out the suit, the PDP headed for the appeal court, which also dismissed the matter. The Apex Court has thrown out the case for lacking in merit, and a sum of 2 million naira awarded against the PDP as damages. Now, the lead judgment read by Justice Adamu Jauro agreed with the lower and appellate court that the PDP was a meddlesome interloper and a busybody. Emeka.
I think the PDP, having filed a petition at the tribunal, at the presidential election petition tribunal, I don't know what they sought to achieve by that suit, because it was so clear that there are two legs in terms of qualification, in arguing on non-qualification. There is a pre-election, there's a pre-election and there's a post-election. The pre-election, according to the Electoral Act, very clear that it can be challenged within 14 days of primaries by fellow contestants. Then after the election, there's a post-election, which can be challenged by other parties. So delving into this matter from the pre-election angle, I don't know what they sought to achieve, but the justices in their wisdom have said that there was that the lawyers actually didn't marshal the arguments according to the law, because it was so clear. I understand that the lawyer to Atiku at the Supreme Court, he pleaded two new arguments which were not there at the appeal court.
Okay.
Now, coming up to the Supreme Court. So definitely, I think, well, it's interesting the way the suit has turned out, even though that matter is one of the issues pending before the presidential election petition tribunal, elections petition tribunal, in terms of non-qualification. This one was double nomination. Double nomination can be brought about by fellow contestants within 14 days. But as post-election is non-qualification of a candidate. So we watch the proceedings of the election tribunal.
Yeah.
That matter.
Did I remember one justice, I think in either Britain or America, who said a famous line, let me attempt to quote him: "We are final because we are not infallible, but we are not infallible because we are final." I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So
what that one was saying was that, yes, their decisions are final, but it does not make them infallible, that they
Yeah.
can make mistakes, judges can make mistakes. And in some jurisdiction, even the Supreme Court is permitted to redress its mistakes, you know, and all that. But in our country,
I think they've done so twice.
the only condition is if there were clerical errors in a judgment.
Yeah, in the case of Abga, for instance.
Yes, if there were clerical errors that misled the judges
into taking it
in their judgment, if
Okay.
there are clerical errors, they can reverse themselves. But once they've taken a decision on the basis of law, they can't. They are not permitted to reverse themselves. And that's what Justice Augie said on that day when she wept, because people like Olanipekun brought a motion before them that they should reverse themselves. She burst into tears and said, no, that senior lawyers can't be bringing this, because you know the law does not permit us to reverse ourselves, at least in that manner.
Yeah.
You know? In this case, I think it's section 284 14C that is confusing. Confusing
The PDP.
the PDP and other parties. Earlier, when Hyacinth earlier emerged in Benue, the PDP challenged its emergence, you know, citing irregularities in the way the primaries went.
Yeah.
They lost right up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ordered them to withdraw the matter. And when you are ordered to withdraw a matter, it's like the matter has been dismissed. So I see a line of authority there. So when this one happened, the lawyers, the PDP lawyers were arguing that, look, what happened is a breach of the Electoral Act. Therefore, they had the local standard to challenge the APC candidate. But the judge said section 284C, that's the 14C, Justice Jauro, said the Constitution does not extend to a party poking into the affairs of another party, no matter how pained and disgruntled it may be. That section, in terms of its interpretation, it does not extend to political parties
outside of the party involved.
Yes, you can only the nomination candidate is an internal matter of a party. You can't get outside your own party to challenge nomination in another party.
Okay.
So that's what.
Otherwise, what are your interests?
He's saying that, look, you can challenge INEC, for example. You can challenge INEC, say, look, this person, you can go, but not the party. Not, you have to be, you do not belong to APC, therefore you cannot challenge this matter. And you
cannot be aggrieved.
Yes, you can be aggrieved. Even on the merit of the matter, they also touch a little bit on the merit of the matter, you know. When you look back, this Kashim Shettima did not know that he was going to be made vice president. Running mate. He was already the senatorial candidate for Borno Central, but he wrote a letter rejecting the senatorial seat. I mean, ticket, while hoping that, okay, since I've been nominated for vice president, I prefer this.
Give up.
As far as the court is concerned, it is the intention that matters. It is not the time that letter got to INEC.
Okay.
A letter could get late to INEC, but it is on record that he sent a letter to INEC to say, look, I do not want to contest as senator anymore. So the court was looking at his intention that indeed he did not want to run. Citing Uche Nwosu, citing Uche Nwosu was wrong because Uche Nwosu was candidate for two parties.
Yeah, in Imo.
In Imo.
I remember.
Candidate for APC, candidate for Action Alliance.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so yes, the Supreme Court disqualified him for double nomination, but these cases are different. Nobody comes out to pick nomination form for vice president. You are appointed.
Appointed, yeah.
So
at the
there was no time
at the pleasure of the
flag presidential flag bearer. There was no time that Kashim Shettima got up to say that, look, give me that form for vice president. Yeah. So he only obtained nomination form for one position.
Yeah.
And in the end, he gave up that position, and Kaka replaced him as candidate of the party. He did not enter the race contesting for two different positions.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was even no basis for this in the first place. And I think that so long as it is the internal affair of nomination, is an internal affair of a political party, you cannot get involved. So look at the extent.
Might I mention 1999, although Emeka and I broached it.
He had even won the election as governor.
That's it. And Boni Haruna had to take over his place.
Yes.
But nobody went to court.
No, they went to court. They challenged Boni Haruna right up to the end.
Oh, really?
Of course.
They challenged him right up to the apex court.
What was the prayer?
That he shouldn't take that position. You know? In this case, look at what we had some days before the judgment, that Tinubu was looking for a way to get Buhari to declare a public holiday today, Friday, so that the last opportunity to have him disqualified would be scuttled. I mean, these same people had lost at the lower courts.
And the federal court
dismissed the matter of this. So for me, I wasn't surprised that this was how it ended. Some young journalists interviewed me at Max FM last night. I told them, I said, tomorrow, come and meet me. This matter will be dismissed by the Supreme Court. Quote me. It was Marvin, the GM, that brought them to me that they shouldn't. I said, this matter will be dismissed by the Supreme Court. Tomorrow evening, come and meet me, remind me of what I said. Because the law is the law. So you don't belong to their party. What's their business with who got nominated for
Emeka, and this appeared to be a last-ditch attempt to scuttle May 29.
Well,
if you ask me.
The court thought otherwise and ruled otherwise.
As the court pleases.
As their lordships please.
Yeah.
As it pleases
the lordships.
And it's still still one of the key issues.
Yeah,
before the tribunal.
Yes.
You know?
Okay.
So
yes, it's there.
It's still I'm not going to hazard a guess as to what will happen at the tribunal. It's not our duty, so that they don't take me before those judges. But in my heart, I know what will happen, especially on this matter. The law is clear.
We are taught not to opinionate. So we end it here. Last take from you?
Yeah, well, let democracy thrive and let the interests of Nigeria be paramount. And I hope that politicians will work together for the good of the country.
And that attorneys will give us a break.
Yes, those who are aggrieved, their rights to approach the court should be respected. They should not be demonized for approaching the courts, like you see some people doing. And then when the courts rule, well,
so be it.
So be it.
Well, it's a good thing that the court doesn't stop you from approaching it. But I still think that some lawyers are behaving in an irresponsible manner, wasting the time of the court, filing silly, frivolous cases before the courts, and they need to be punished.
And thankfully,
they need to be punished.
The courts don't suffer fools gladly.
No. I've seen even former CJ, and I saw what he did to a judge in a case involving Ondo State. You know, when they were desperate to make sure that Jagede was not a candidate in the election, they kept kicking the can down the road, until the CJN took over the matter by himself and punished the lawyers right in open court.
All right,
it has to continue.
The backroom boys say our time is up, so we must obey them. Thank you, Emeka, for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jide, too, for your time. That's it on our show. If you missed any part of it, join us at 11 later tonight for a late edition. And of course, don't forget, on Sunday, we expand the field for you from 1:30 to about 3:30. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now.